Anna O'Sullivan, and the Director of the Gallery, and I will be your MC this morning and try and keep things moving along. May I extend a very warm welcome to the Gaeltacht Councillor Andrew McGuinness and Mayor of Kilkenny Municipal District Councillor John Coonahan, Minister of State for Heritage and Electoral Reform Malcolm Noonan, Kilkenny County Council Executive and elected members, members of the Defence Forces and invited guests. On behalf of the Chair and the Butler Gallery Board and staff, let me say that it is such a pleasure for us all to have you here to celebrate our official launch day. We will have a series of short speeches before the official launch by Minister Noonan, and just want to remind you all to physically distance, 2 metres apart, masks if necessary. You will have to have masks when you come inside. It's just want to follow the guidelines. So, without further ado, let us start by welcoming the Gaeltacht of Kilkenny County Council, Councillor Andrew McGuinness. Thank you.
Thank you. As a representative of the people of Kilkenny, I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the new home of one of Kilkenny's cultural treasures, the Butler Gallery. I thank and congratulate all those involved in the planning and building of this wonderful addition to Kilkenny, and I extend a special Céad of Fáilte to all of you who have travelled to be with us today. It would be remiss of me not to extend a particular welcome to Jane O'Malley, herself an artist, whose late husband Tony O'Malley, a proud son of Kilkenny, a free man of Kilkenny City, and a painter and philosopher whose work now graces the walls of the gallery. You are very welcome, Jane. I would also like to welcome Susanna Crampton, a granddaughter of Peggy and Hubert Butler, whose name is proudly displayed on the wall behind us. I must also extend a warm welcome and congratulate Malcolm Noonan on this, his first official appointment in Kilkenny as Minister for Heritage and Electoral Reform. Best wishes to you, Malcolm. We miss you on the council. I want to acknowledge Mayor John Coonan, a long-time elected representative, who was a member of Kilkenny Borough Council when the conversation about the future of this building began. I also want to mention former County Manager Paddy Donnelly, who back in 1997, along with the City Fathers, was instrumental in securing the site. I want to acknowledge and thank my fellow elected members and past members, council staff, management and executive for the contribution they have made over many years to this project. We are in the parish of St. John's, affectionately known as the Continent. Behind me are the beautiful ruins of St. John's Priory, often called the Lantern of Ireland due to the amount of windows in the building. Across the street was St. John's College, where Dean Swift was a pupil, which in less liberal times, because it was Protestant, the locals often called it the Mortal Sin. It is now the home of the Kilkenny County Council. We are surrounded by history in Kilkenny, much of it Norman, and it is appropriate that the Butler Gallery now sits comfortably on the footprints of our past in a beautifully restored building, which is a statement of civic pride, respect for culture, and a celebration of the creativity and individuality of the artists whose work it displays. What was spent on this building has been well spent, but it's insignificant when put beside the contribution the Butler Gallery has made to our county over many years. The gallery has earned its new home, not because it attracts visitors to Kilkenny, but because it is a statement about what our people value and appreciate. That is not to ignore the contribution that visitors make, but to emphasise that the gallery's cultural value and its place in the hearts of our citizens is paramount. At its best, art is civilising, be it sculpture, painting, music, literature, architecture, or whatever elevates the spirit and encourages creativity. Art invites us to mindfully contemplate reality, beauty, the world around us, and our place in it, and gently, positively influences all our lives. The Butler Gallery has done great work promulgating that message. Kilkenny has many gems, like Roth House, St. Canice's Cathedral, Jerpoint Abbey, and the ruins of great buildings scattered across the county, built by individuals to make a statement about themselves and their love of the place they call home. Those buildings have an integrity that has withstood the passage of time and the whims of fashion. And like this building and this gallery, they uplift hearts and souls rather than deplete pockets. They speak of centuries of spirituality, ambitions, creativity, and civic pride, rather than the demands of commerce. That is what Kilkenny must be about. A county that people visit to experience and enjoy the civic spaces and buildings that we value and care for. A county proud of itself and its past, and happy in its own skin. That does not mean that business won't be done. Indeed, business will be better done, and for much longer, if we keep our dignity and strive for quality, uniqueness, and authenticity. Too many cities and towns in Ireland and across the world have traded authenticity for imitation and dignity for profit. We don't have to do that. When the tawdry and the false have had their brief moment, the integrity, culture, and beauty that has come to us down many generations will still be admired and attract visitors. Our duty as civic leaders is to sensitively care for what we have, and the Butler Gallery's new home is a good example of that. But more is needed. My council colleagues and I were fortunate enough to be given a private tour last week, our first time to see the finished product. We were all blown away and very, very proud. The wonderful Chief Curator and Director of the Gallery, Anna O'Sullivan, spoke to us about how the project came to fruition. Her passion, vision, dedication, and ambition is inspiring, to say the least. It's reflected in her team. Who else can say they helped secure and hold funding into the millions during an economic crash and opened such an ambitious project during a pandemic? That alone is testament to the dedication to this project, and we all reap the rewards of that today. Anna and her team are fantastic and deserve great credit for their work. The Butler Gallery is truly in safe hands. One of the things Anna said to us that day that has since resonated with me was that with this new building, they now have the space to be ambitious and to dream big. As civic leaders, we must always dream big, because that is where projects like this begin. When I say more is needed, I mean we should continue to dream big, build on what we have, and continue to develop ambitious projects such as this one. Minister Noonan has already indicated his interest in the use of and the importance of the River Nore to our city. I greatly welcome that, and if you indulge me for just a minute, I would hope that Minister Noonan will join me when I strongly express my belief that Kilkenny must claim its place as the modern capital of Northern Ireland by building a cutting-edge contemporary Norman museum and study centre on the banks of the Nore, and by creating a Norman trail around the county that takes in the magnificent ruins and buildings that we have. This will also bring visitors to Kilkenny, vitality to towns and villages like Kells and Thomastown and many others, and generally help the economy of the county and give life and greater prominence to the sites themselves. Such a museum would complement this gallery and our many historic sites. There is no major museum in Ireland devoted to the Normans, and a study centre with genealogical records would attract academics from across the world. I have absolutely no doubt that such a step would be culturally and economically successful and a source of pride long after the tawdry and the fake have lost their guilt. It is a statement worth making and a goal worth fighting for. It is a big dream, just like this one. But public representatives and officials of the county made big dreams real before. Just think of the castle. And we can do that too. When you have the courage to dream big and bold, the means will be found. The building we proudly open today is proof of that. We do not have to sell the soul of Kilkenny to suit the imagined needs of others. We have to preserve and treasure that soul and add to its lustre by being careful with and sensitive about what we have, and creative and confident about what we build for ourselves. Integrity and authenticity attract effortlessly. Visitors will come, our economy will benefit, and future generations will thank us for keeping our county true and safe. The Butler Gallery has quietly shown us the way forward, a way that is genuine and true, an expression of ourselves rather than a reaction to others, a way that makes it part of the heartbeat of Kilkenny. As I have said, it has earned its new home, and I, on behalf of the people of Kilkenny and the members of Kilkenny County Council, thank it for its contribution in the past and look forward to its influence expanding and its success growing in the years ahead. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Kilkenny. And now let us all welcome Borla Carroll, Director of Product Development from Fáilte Ireland.
Thank you, Anna. Minister, Lord Mayor, Kilkenny, public representatives, and my colleague Colette from Kilkenny County Council. Fáilte Ireland are very proud to be part of this project and to co-fund it with Kilkenny County Council, the Department of Culture, Heritage and the Gaeltacht. I suppose when we first got involved in the project, about 1.1 million in it, our ambition was for this gallery to have 45,000 visitors in the first year and grow to 76,000 visitors in year 10. Now, unfortunately, COVID has probably put a little bit of a dampener on that, but we do believe and still believe that this will become a flagship cultural attraction for Kilkenny and indeed a key component for Ireland's ancient East, and make this a true destination and worth visitors travelling when they can from around the world. By moving the gallery to this location, this wonderful location from the basement of Kilkenny Castle, it actually has increased it in size tenfold. And it's not just that it's put into a beautiful location, but what that means is now this building enables the extensive Butler permanent collection to be displayed at one site for the first time. That is quite unique, as well as having the Tony O'Malley collection. And I suppose in addition to the contemporary work art, this building enables so much more of Kilkenny, its past and its future, to be shared culturally with both visitors and citizens of Kilkenny and Ireland. And I suppose as well, we're all standing out here, thankfully the rain has stayed off, but in this beautiful and extensive outdoor area. And it's important that we have outdoor spaces, probably even more so in the current COVID crisis. But by having this and opening up this derelict building, we have such wonderful views of St. John's Priory, and this will really boost the hospitality and retail businesses on John Street. I think it's important, what Kilkenny has to offer, and it's been mentioned before by Kilkenny ahead of me, is there are many, many wonderful sites, both in the town and in the county. And it is important these are marketed and cross-promoted by both the accommodation providers and the other local attractions like Kilkenny Castle, like the Medieval Mile. We can see the Tulsa, which is a new project that we're working on as well. And together, developing that cluster will increase dwell time and make sure that people stay here and spend more money and bring back to the economy and do that regeneration. Tourism prior to COVID employed 260,000 people worldwide, Ireland-wide, excuse me, a lot more worldwide. And COVID has affected us really, really badly. But what we need is more attractions like this, new ones and enhanced ones, to make sure visitors understand what a wonderful heritage, what a wonderful culture we have in Ireland, and to come and visit when it's safe. And also that locals from all around Ireland actually come. Because it's very, very important. Prior to this, we had a huge importance on our international visitors, and so many more domestic were taking holidays overseas. Thankfully this year people are having staycations, which is fantastic. But we don't just want that for just crisis. This needs to continue ongoing. And I suppose it's also very important, again, with our weather, that we have indoor attractions for people to go and see, and that we manage that accordingly. So we're very, very excited to be part of this project. We think it is a wonderful addition to the Kilkenny offering. It's been on Anna's radar and a lot of others for many, many a year, and an awful lot of hard work has gone in by a lot of people. I'd particularly like to congratulate Colette and the staff in Kilkenny County Council. I hope you don't mind. I'd also like to congratulate my own colleagues, Brian and his team in Ireland's Ancient East, and Joanna and Rory McCarthy from Fáilte Ireland, who have worked very closely with Anna. And I suppose more importantly, while we are a funder, we're our partner in this, and we will continue to work day in, day out to help Anna and her team to make sure that this is the success it can be for Kilkenny. So I'd just like to end to say, look, I wish Anna and her team and the entire board of the Butler Gallery every success with the project, and I think this will be a huge success for Kilkenny, and I look forward to coming back year on year with more and more visitors coming to the town. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is my opportunity to say a few words. This has been a long journey to where we stand today, and since 1943 our original founders, George Pennyfeather and Peter Brennan, and the early voluntary board members of the Kilkenny Art Gallery Society, as we were once known, always had a long-term goal of finding a permanent home for this grassroots organisation. Peggy Butler was hugely responsible for negotiating the establishment of the gallery in Kilkenny Castle in the 1970s, and we are grateful to her and Stanley Moss and other long-time board members that made that happen. The gallery was renamed after Peggy for her dedication in keeping the society current and vibrant for so many years. That group of board members grew to include enthusiastic involvement by artist Barry Cook, an important board member for over 20 years, and Kilkenny residents like Susan Moss and artist George Vaughan, who I think might be here today. The gallery had a tremendously rewarding experience in Kilkenny Castle for 44 years under the auspices of the Office of Public Works. And I'm not sure if Rosemary Collier is here today, but I'll welcome her if she's here. Hi, Rosemary. But there never was going to be enough space to facilitate the hanging of our growing collection and facilitate our learning and public engagement programme. This building, Evans Home, has provided us with the immense opportunity of dedicating several galleries to our collection and the work of Kilkenny's own Tony O'Malley and his wife Jane O'Malley. We are hugely grateful to the generosity of Jane O'Malley for her donation of the estate of her late husband to the Butler Gallery. She's been a constant champion of his legacy, and we are committed to showcasing, caretaking and safeguarding this estate and our collection into the future. In my last 15 years as director, I've had the support of many chairs of the organisation who have given much of their time, voluntary time and expertise, and they include Marianne Gelly and Emer Foley. And for the board chairs who were of such help during the development, special thanks were extended to Milo Fitzgerald, Andrew Hetherington, who's here today, thank you Andrew, and our current chair, Beatrice Kelly. Butler Gallery has always sought to effect change at a local and national level. With this new space, we hope to take our goals and ambitions into the future and make a significant contribution to the cultural life of Kilkenny. I have a lot of people to thank, so I have to take this opportunity. But first and foremost, the Butler Gallery team have worked so hard with me to make this a reality. My longtime colleagues, Ailish Fian, our operations manager, and Pauline Swain, our visitor services manager, have been a constant support along this journey and give their all on a daily basis. I always say, but it is true, I couldn't do without them. Also to Rebecca Reynolds, our development director, and to Holly Kearns, our learning and public engagement curator, who each bring so much to the table and for which I'm so grateful. Stephen Aylan, our head technician, and John Whelan have been enormous help in the hanging of the various works of art and getting us to open to the public to an extremely high standard. Our new visitor services team of Maria de Lessiter, Shane Gallagher and Molly King are all excellent, and they're looking forward to making your visits to the gallery a great experience. A project like this does not happen without the serious support of a lot of people. The 2 million Access 2 grant from the Department of Arts, Sports and Tourism that was awarded the Butler Gallery in 2007 was the catalyst for attracting future funding, and we are extremely grateful for that first expression of support for this project and for the department staying committed to our vision and retaining this grant over the years. Thank you to Mary Nash and Letitia Stupensky for her efforts on this project and for working closely with Simon Bolton on realising all that was required. Lots of paperwork. Thanks to Dervla Ledwick, who I worked with on that grant all those years ago. Little did we know in 2006 when we submitted that grant application that it would take 14 years to get us to this happy day. Thank you to the team at Fáilte Ireland for this significant capital grant to the Kilkenny County Council, which came along at an extremely important time and without which this project might have remained stagnant. Thank you for appreciating the values of what the new Butler Gallery hopes to achieve in our great city. Kilkenny County Council have been extraordinary in their support of our project. It has been a collaboration that has been so important to getting this project over the line. Over the years, I've worked with 3 different County Council Chief Executives, Michael Malone, Joe Crockett and Colette Byrne, and various Director of Services who have all been hugely encouraging to the project. But I really do have to thank Colette Byrne for truly seeing the potential of this site and building and for acknowledging all that Butler Gallery has done and can do to add to the offer here in Kilkenny. This development would not have happened without the agreement of the funding by the elected members of Kilkenny City and County. We thank you for your support, and I do hope we make you proud with what has been achieved. We hope all Kilkenny citizens will feel welcome here now and into the future. Butler Gallery has realised funds from various fundraising efforts over the past few years, and we are very grateful for all of you who got behind these initiatives and became friends of the gallery or became a corporate sponsor, bought one of our benefit prints or purchased one in one of our 2 art auctions. Thank you to St. Canice's Credit Union for sponsoring our Learning Centre for its first year of operation. Thank you to all our artist alumni who generously participated in these auctions, donating work, and to all the local businesses who donated spot prizes. It takes a village, folks, as you all know, and the money that we raised to fit out aspects of the interior of this building came about from help from a whole lot of people. Thank you to one and all. We lost a great member of the arts community here in Kilkenny these past few months. Before she died, artist Gypsy Ray made a significant gift of many of her excellent photographs, and her husband and the sculptor Alan Coonan, whose work is on display here, is planning on donating her darkroom, cameras and photo library to assist us in our learning centre. We miss her, and also Jean Conroy, another member of our education panel, whom we lost a few years ago, far too early, and who also made a major impact in our learning programme. They will not be forgotten. Many thanks to McCullum Malvern Architects and one of their partners, Ruth O'Hurley, along with Owen Horgan, on bringing this project to completion. They have been so patient on this lengthy job and have done a wonderful job in sensitively responding to the restoration of the building and site, bringing it back to for 21st century use. This building now has a new life to take it into the next century, which we are thrilled to contribute to. Michael Construction have worked hard at realising this project and have done a top-class job delivering this development, though I fear I will be the bane of Maurice Michael's life with my list of minor snags here and there. To be fair, he and his team have been really helpful and patient with us, and I thank them. I've had an excellent colleague in Evelyn Graham, the project liaison architect with the Kilkenny County Council, whom I have worked with for many years. She's been immensely helpful on this journey and provided expertise, insight and good cheer through the many years that it has taken us to this day. Thank you also to Brian Butler, the Clerk of Works, who's always been extremely helpful to us at Butler Gallery. Thank you to Ian Gardner, Fred Morton, Brian Tyrrell, who worked with us on that Fáilte Ireland grant way back when. May I also thank all the teams of men and women who have worked on this building, from archaeologists to engineers to the artisan workers who brought such skill to the restoration. May I also thank John Raftery for overseeing and steering the interpretation of the building, and to our designer Tom Fian of Dynamite.ie for providing us with wonderful new branding and keeping the standards always high. Much appreciated. I would like to acknowledge the annual core funding the Butler Gallery receives from the Arts Council, our main funders. We are grateful to the faith you have in us and support you provide us with to deliver a high standard of programming. I think think Maureen Kennelly might be here, the new CEO of the Arts Council, and on behalf of the Butler Gallery Board and all her friends here in Kilkenny, we wish you well in your important new role. We are in good hands with you in the helm. For our first temporary exhibition in our main gallery, we are delighted to showcase the excellent black and white photography of Amelia Steen entitled The Bloods, which honours the men and women of the James Stephens Barracks here in Kilkenny. The exhibition pays homage to one of the building's former uses as a barracks from 1718 to 1818, before it became an almshouse. The building was initiated and paid for by the Kilkenny philanthropist Joseph Evans and operated as an almshouse for retired servants for 100 years. I sincerely hope that Joseph Evans would be pleased with its new role as a free museum and a place for all to congregate and enjoy. We are fortunate to have such great collaborators here in Kilkenny, and we look forward to our third collaboration with Cartoon Saloon when we bring you Wolf Walkers, the exhibition, later in October. I'm delighted that Olga Barry of the Kilkenny Arts Festival and ourselves have come together to showcase the work of Luke Murphy and Crash Ensemble for the opening of our building and for the Kilkenny Arts Festival X at an extremely difficult time for live performance. I see it as an excellent beginning for future projects that will animate all we have on offer here in Kilkenny. Welcome to Rosemary Steen of the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland on her fairly new position there, and delighted that we are participating in your sculptural project Connected seen throughout the city. All art is an act of faith, a faith that life itself with its flaws and pandemics can be improved upon by creating something new and putting it out into the world. Artists will remain a crucial part of whatever new reality we are looking towards, and capture these changes, challenge us with their observations, and chart new territories for us to explore. As artists are at the core of what we do here at the Butler Gallery, I wish them support and look forward to future engagement here in our exceptional new gallery and site. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to pass you on to Colette Byrne, the Chief Executive of Kilkenny County Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Gaeltacht, Minister, Mayor, elected members, Oireachtas members. I won't deal with you individually because I'm sure to see someone in the crowd here. The officials from the Department of Arts and Fáilte Ireland are very welcome. Chief of Staff, Mark Mellett, and invited guests. Today is a special day for Kilkenny and Butler Gallery. Today, Butler Gallery comes of age and gets the keys to its own home, its own front door. Evan's home is a magnificent building, restored with care and attention to detail to meet the needs of Butler Gallery. Anna, the staff, and the board of Butler Gallery, past and present, are justifiably excited to be in their new home. In hurling terms, today is the equivalent of winning the All-Ireland. It doesn't get much better for the arts world in Kilkenny, so well done, Anna. For Kilkenny, today is another milestone on the journey of Kilkenny County Council, restoring and reimagining some of Kilkenny's heritage assets. It is one of a number of significant projects underway or in planning. As alluded to earlier, we live in an ever-changing world where we are constantly challenged to give new uses and functions to built heritage assets. We need to find sustainable uses for old buildings, adapt them sympathetically for their function, bring them to modern standards, and ensure they are accessible for all. We have a duty to mind our heritage buildings for future generations of Kilkenny people to use, enjoy, and reshape to their needs, whatever they may be in the future. 3 years ago, the Medieval Mile Museum opened its doors in the former St. Mary's Church. The Parade Tower is a much lauded event venue as part of Kilkenny Castle, which has hosted many significant events since its restoration. The former Bishop's Palace, Bishop's House, is now national headquarters to the Heritage Council. Most of us have had the pleasure of seeing and hearing world-class performances in St. Canice's Cathedral, which welcomes over 50,000 visitors per year to Kilkenny, while still continuing to fulfil its ecclesiastical function. The list could go on. Buildings, spaces, their uses, change and evolve. Work is currently underway on the former Smithwick's Brewhouse to adapt it to energy efficient, high quality offices in the heart of Kilkenny City. Mytons, who were mentioned earlier, are the main contract on that project. I know we can look forward to the opening of the Brewhouse in 2021, where the building's brewing past will be reflected, whilst delivering offices of a quality that will help attract much needed jobs into the heart of Kilkenny City. People working and living in the centre of Kilkenny City is key to its vibrancy. Workers and residents will support many businesses and bring life and vitality to our streets as they go about their daily lives. Plans to convert the former Mayfair Dance Hall into a public library are well advanced. Subject to funding, we could be on site by year end. Imagine the activity generated by the footfall to a modern library with its many uses and community spaces for young and old and all of us who are somewhere in between. Open from 8 in the morning until 10 at night, 7 days a week. What a difference it will make to business activity in Irish Town when it's completed. By next summer, the 18th century pleasure house in the Abbey Quarter will be renovated and could be the new trendy place to sip a skinny latte or a cappuccino whilst waiting to hop on the city bus. All going well, the Town Hall will get an appropriate intervention in the coming years. The story of our long history of mayors, some colourful characters by all accounts. Their decision making, good and bad, will be told whilst providing access for all to the much loved civic space, including the Mayor's office and chamber. The democratic process will endure in the iconic Tolsel as elected members will continue to meet, reflect the views of the people who elected them, and make decisions on behalf of the people of Kilkenny City. The dungeons in the Tolsel will open to the public and connect with the medieval mile to tell another part of Kilkenny's rich history. It will tell the story of Kilkenny and with broad appeal and engage new audiences from Kilkenny and further afield, who will learn about Kilkenny's past in an entertaining way. We could tell our very own Kilkenny's horrible history story in our new venue. Our work in the council is not confined to the city. Plans are moving ahead to convert the former courthouse, Sessions House in Thomastown, to a centre of excellence for jewellery making, which will be managed by the Design and Craft Council of Ireland. This will provide a sustainable use for this protected structure, far from its original function of administering justice and law enforcement. It will further enhance the reputation of Thomastown for craft and design. Hopefully, some of the school's students, national and international, will fall in love with Thomastown, and in a couple of years, we will see the development of workshops for craft makers in some underutilised buildings. The challenge is always to respect the past, whilst adapting buildings to modern standards and new functions that will generate footfall and vitality. An empty, protected building contributes little to its community and surrounds. The building behind us has got much attention today, but of equal importance is the creation of new public spaces that will be maintained by Kilkenny County Council. The Butler Gallery garden is now part of a necklace of public spaces in Kilkenny City, which will be added to later this autumn when the new Riverside Park and Skate Park will open on the banks of the Nore. In addition, the Council has recently applied for planning permission and grant aid to create a 2.5-acre park surrounding St Francis Abbey on the Abbey Quarter. St Francis Park, when delivered, will respect the site's heritage, built, natural and industrial. When delivered, it will be a space for the public to use, linger and enjoy. It will be an outdoor space for our many festivals. What a stunning backdrop St Francis Abbey will be for Kilkenny's many outdoor cultural events. The Council, in working on the Abbey Quarter, is taking a site previously in private ownership in the heart of Kilkenny City that was home to industrial buildings with the trucks and traffic that goes hand in hand with operating a brewery, and converting it into a beautiful park and urban street where pedestrians and cyclists will be king. The end product will be to the quality Ireland's medieval city has come to expect. As mentioned earlier, days like today don't happen by chance. Many people have worked on this project over recent years. Too many to mention by name, but I do want to thank them. The contractor, Michaels and his staff, the architects and engineering teams, and Kilkenny County Council staff, past and present, across so many disciplines. Anna has mentioned most, but a sincere thank you to the staff in the Council who have worked on this project tirelessly over the last decade. This project was reimagined and scaled back a little a few years ago to make its delivery feasible and today a reality. There is never a shortage of good ideas and worthy projects to be done. Restoration projects of this scale, nature and quality do not come cheap, unfortunately. I want to sincerely thank Fáilte Ireland and the Department of Arts, Culture and Gaeltacht for their contribution to this project. The level of national grant aid is in recognition of the role arts and culture play in the lives, in people's lives, and for Kilkenny the role arts and culture play in attracting visitors to our city. The level of grant aid from national sources has made the delivery of this project a possibility. A big thank you is due to the elected members of Kilkenny County Council, past and present. They make difficult and sometimes unpopular decisions. I hope that the people of Kilkenny, when they visit Butler Gallery and Gardens, will appreciate the investment Kilkenny County Council has made on their behalf to give Evans Home a new lease of life, along with creating a garden for the public to use and enjoy. Without the courageous decisions by elected members, days like today would not happen. So a big thank you to the elected members of Kilkenny County Council. Finally, I want to wish Butler Gallery and Anna every success in the new home. I know that in accepting the keys from the council for this building, they accept the responsibility that comes with it, to mind Evans Home on behalf of the people of Kilkenny and to keep it safe for future generations. May Butler Gallery and its gardens inspire the creation of new art for all to enjoy in the future. Today is the start of another chapter in the story of Evans Home. Thank you.
It is my great pleasure to welcome Minister of State for Heritage and Electoral Reform, Malcolm Noonan, who will launch the new Butler Gallery.
So much for the short speeches. I won't break my tradition. Avera Cahirlock, Valoractus, Bonistor and Conte, Store or Service, I was on board down in the Butler. Talk on owner doing a event showing you. Or an Oka Tabak the show, Goskild, or Oshbra, Ella, Inuruct, a Carroll. To Paula Evan, Terman Tra, Kosh Winter, and Pobble, in Aum Magaver. And you, Ta and Cobydale, Nua, Tosu, a star, and a heart to show, or Vala, to Don Law and the Butler. Mayor, Cahirlock, Oireachtas members, former members of Kilkenny County Council and Corporation, CEO, Directors of Services, Board of the Gallery, Chief of Staff of the Defence Forces, and Fionn. It's a great honour to be here today on this important occasion as we unveil another great asset to our city's heritage. Evans Home once gave refuge to people in our community who fell on hard times, and today a new chapter in the history of this place begins as the home of the Butler Gallery. As a young boy growing up with a love of art in Kilkenny, the Butler Gallery at Kilkenny Castle was a godsend. There were no outreach programmes back then to encourage children who may not have had such an opportunity, but the gallery was near my home in Larchfield. A show in 1982, the poster of which still adorns our hall at home, curated by the then Kilkenny Art Gallery Society, was to begin a lifelong love of the work of Tony O'Malley. I became fascinated by his work, particularly in St. Ives, but all of his work, and I longed to meet him, but I unfortunately never did. I did aspire to be an artist because of Tony O'Malley, and something that unfortunately your careers take different paths in life, and I suppose Paul Cuddy and Sean would recall the late Joe Cody saying that politics is a lot like art, you have to know where to draw the line. I was also to spend almost 16 years looking at some of Tony's work in our council chamber across the way in the town hall, and I never tired of it, you never could. I was so grateful when Jane invited me to Physicianstown as Mayor of Kilkenny in 2010 to stroll through the Allium and the Burnham Walk in full bloom and to trawl through his work in his studio. It's a day I'll never forget, I'll cherish. There's another connection here for me, indeed quite a few. The inaugural exhibition of Amelia Steen on show here today, The Bloods, has a particular resonance, as I was born and spent the first number of years of my life in the married quarters of James Stephen's Barracks. Our dad served 37 happy years there, and I remember running around the billets and very familiar with the grounds of the barracks, so I think it's a very resonant piece of work. It is an important photographic testimony to that special place, to the men and women who serve in our defence forces. This work was undertaken at a time of great interconnection and interaction between the historic physical spaces in our city and Kilkenny Arts Festival, so it's appropriate that the Bloods reconnects this old military building and the current one. And so to another connection. When we lived in Father Murphy Square, the shortest route into town was down by the side of the CBS hurling pitch, often occupied by local Bangladeshi families readapting that space for cricket, past a cluster of small cottages known as the Sconce and onto James's Green. It was there we befriended a woman we became known as Gertie. We would call into her to see if she needed fags or the Daily Star in town. Often we were invited into a living room that really should have been curated like Francis Bacon's studio. In a plume of smoke were pictures of Jack Charlton, Daniel O'Donnell adorned the walls, our beloved budgie Joey swung in his cage, and our artwork coloured by numbers of exotic birds. There was also an illustration of this place and a framed faded article from the Irish Times, a feature on the life of Gertie Deacon. Gertie was, as it happens, up to last year, the last living resident of Evans home. In our chats, she divulged snippets of her life here and her tragically sad life. In her later years, Gertie was a much-loved resident and careful resident of St. Columba's in Thomastown. I hadn't seen her in a number of years, but when Holly Kearns and I called to see her as part of an oral history project for the Butler Gallery, she cried and she hugged me and remembered me. She was indeed a remarkable woman. And on the subject of remarkable women, it will be difficult to put into words what Anna O'Sullivan has brought not just to this gallery, but to Kilkenny and to the arts community in Ireland. Her single-minded vision, her quiet tenacity are, in my view, the reason we are here today. Anna's stewardship of the gallery has brought international acclaim, but more importantly, she continues to seek out work and artists who provoke, spark debate, and inspire us on every visit. Developing a programme of outreach and inclusion with her team, past and present, has added greatly to the core of the work of the gallery. This will not be a static space. It will over time be alive with the sound of laughter and of children immersing themselves in creativity, and no virus can suppress that. Much of my work over the next few years will focus on our built heritage, trying to unlock the potential of and to repurpose many of the thousands of older buildings and houses in our towns and cities as they decline further due to this pandemic. It will be an immense task. We were in a crisis pre-COVID, so this is significant. But we do have here in Kilkenny some fine exemplar projects of reuse, St. Mary's across the river, and now here in Evans Home. I wish to pay a tribute to Niall McCulloch, who I had the pleasure of working with on St. Mary's, on McCulloch Mullivan, Evelyn Graham, our city and county architect, the board of the Butler Gallery, Peter Cox of Kerry Conservancy, and Colette Byrne and her team in Kilkenny County Council for opening this new chapter in the life of Evans Home. Furthermore, I believe that this could be the fulcrum of the regeneration of one of the most significant and unattended areas of the city, John's Quay. Finding a new purpose for the Carnegie Library, perhaps our archives, supporting the Home Rule Club, supporting the interpretation of the ongoing conservation of St. John's Priory complex, and improving permeability in public realm for cycling and walking should all be considered. I am conscious too that we are but a stone's throw from Francis McManus' home on Michael Street, and he wrote extensively about this stretch of the River Nore. Hugh Butler, writing in 1984, said, "The landscape is domestic and life is mainly prosperous, but it has edged away from the rivers. Today, I hope we are seeing the reversal of this trend. Extending as a full pedestrian and cycle spine along the river will open up all sorts of possibilities for our city." The pandemic is forcing us to rapidly reevaluate everything, creative spaces, and afford us the opportunity to collaborate and co-create that reevaluation. and a new shared vision. Our very survival depends on our collective ability to adapt to change, and this new space will, I'm sure, become central to that conversation, deep in the thick of it, where life is fully and consciously lived in our own neighbourhood. Again, to borrow from Hugh Butler. Writing about the relationship between St Mary's and Evan's Home, Neil McCulloch speaks of the reshaping and adjustment. Here at the almshouse, stone was taken from the monastery to build the barracks, and in turn taken again to build the almshouse. Its simplicity as much a mark of productive ambitions as formal intent. It is important to say thanks to the team at Kilkenny Castle and the OPW who housed the gallery since 1976, helping to realise the vision of Peggy Butler and the Society, a vision formed around that kitchen table in Maiden Hall. Amelia Stein's The Bloods runs as part of Kilkenny Arts Festival X, and great credit goes to Olga Barry and her team. Not even a pandemic could stop this great festival. To all who made this project happen, Kilkenny County Council, Fáilte Ireland, our own department, I just want to thank you all for a really true, great collaborative effort. You'll have to please forgive me, I'm reading off very random notes scribbled on a beach down in West Cork over the last few days. So I want to thank St. Canice's Kilkenny Credit Union. Roisin is here, and Ian representing the Credit Union. And indeed, we remember the late John Hume, founder of the Irish League of Credit Unions, a great man of peace. We wish to acknowledge the great craftspeople, past and present, who worked on this building. When this term of office to develop a national centre for traditional building skills, something I think would leave a great legacy to the work that's been done here. We learn as we go. And certainly a lot has been learned from the work that has been done on this building and in St Mary's. And this is happening all over the country. There's some really wonderful projects taking place, and I really want us to build on that and to learn from that and to bring that experience in to develop apprenticeships and develop new schemes where young people can learn these old traditional skills. Finally, I just want to acknowledge people who've made a great contribution to the Butler Gallery as well. Anna has said it, Gypsy Ray, Jean Conroy. They've been just wonderful friends to the gallery and wonderful friends to Kilkenny, contributing so much to the art and to the creativity of Kilkenny. I want you to enjoy your time here and enjoy your stay and visiting the exhibitions. I had a quick, brief look through it, and it's just been absolutely wonderful. For me, as Minister for Heritage, it's truly a great honour to be in my hometown. And for this to be my first gig in Kilkenny, I think I couldn't have asked for better. So I'm really truly honoured and humbled to have had this opportunity to do this. And with that, just enjoy the rest of the morning here today. Thank
you. Mr. Noonan is going to reveal the building plaque, which we will have on display inside.
Special day, heavy going, some great addresses and great speeches. In short, the important speech for me, I agree with the sentence of all speakers today, the message that they get from you. By the way, thanks very, very much for turning out for such terrific numbers here today to a very special occasion. I've been a colleague and been fortunate to be a colleague on local authority for many years, and I'm absolutely thrilled that as a Junior Minister for Heritage, that he had the opportunity of being with us here today to address it and officially open such a beautiful gem. Back in 1994 to 97, I happened to be a member of Kilkenny Corporation, as it was then, and Kilkenny Borough Council, under the, I suppose, vision and guidance of the then Paddy Donnelly County Manager. We made the decision that we were going to acquire the building. It is now a living, breathing building, and I hope it will remain so for generations to come. So without any further ado, I know Malcolm's feet were close to the ground, being a member of the Green Party. I'm going to offer some organic produce in a basket. Is that okay? Thank you.
Before I let you on to enjoy some refreshments provided by Muse Coffee and Food, and by the way, let me wish Sharon and Aidan Quinn the very best of luck with this venture. We hope all of you here will come and check out all this cafe has to offer and spread the word. As we want to safely keep our doors open to the public, let me explain how we are arranging visits to the building. Do help yourself to tea and coffee, and in the front and the back, I believe.